One thing I love about Wakanna is we educate, which makes it really easier for the average person who might think that they have to sell what it is that we have regarding our products. But with just education alone, it compels a person to really get an understanding of what cannabis is. You know, you educate them more and they understand the science behind it. And that's a lot more compelling than pharmaceutical sales, the opioid epidemic, and things that we have been suffering from. I think I'm qualified to share that, not because I knew so much about cannabis, what kind of exposed that to me regarding the science of the plant, but I'm a cancer survivor. And by having side effects from chemotherapy, radiation, I think I have it's my due right to be able to share everything that is happening with Wakanda, and especially about this industry and the plant. So this is one thing that has really amazed me when you have people outside of Wakanda that are talking about the plant, the endocannabinoid system. You'll hear mention about cancer within this video, but just check it out for yourself.
Hello, my name is Dr. David Allen. I'm a retired cardiac surgeon and a member of the International Cannabinoid Research Society, ICRS. That means I'm a cannabinoid research scientist. And I'm here to tell you about the discovery of the endocannabinoid system, the ECS, and the significance and how it will change medicine. And we discovered the endocannabinoid system about 30 years ago. And we really didn't understand the significance of its discovery. And so we found out that this is a chemical communication that your body has. It's not electrical, it's chemical. And it's kind of like the hormone systems that people are familiar with. And your body makes these cannabinoids. They're endogenous, so they're endocannabinoids. And they perform some miraculous functions in the body. And we're just learning the significance of these functions. And basically, the endocannabinoid system is responsible for homeostasis. Most people don't understand what that really means, but it's the body's ability to maintain itself and function in the proper environment. And so it's critically important that the doctors in the future understand this control mechanism. And we're finding out that that manipulation of this endocannabinoid system will control diabetes. It controls cancer. It controls whether you can survive a heart attack or stroke. And so this is critically important for doctors to understand this new science. And the discovery of the endocannabinoid system is the single most important medical scientific discovery ever, and will save more lives than the discovery and application of sterile surgical technique. And I'm a heart surgeon saying that. So more people will be saved by manipulation of the endocannabinoid system than are currently saved by surgery.
So in the 1930s, they made tinctures. What were they making the tinctures for, and why were they doing these tinctures?
Well, I mean, the medicinal uses of hemp are just numerous. The hemp helps, well, we can talk about the cancer effects of hemp, but it helps with inflammation. It's very anti-inflammatory. It helps with seizures. It's very effective with PTSD for the vets that are coming back that have post-traumatic traumatic stress disorder. Mm-hmm. Very effective at treating that. It's an anti-inflammatory. But then the uses of hemp for cancer, what I've studied, because of my book, Cancer Step Outside the Box, and the number of cancers, there's about a dozen different cancers that have been studied in depth with medicinal marijuana, with hemp. And so the studies, from brain cancer to prostate cancer to pancreatic cancer, uterine cancer, cervical cancer, prostate cancer, it's amazing.
Okay, so what is in hemp?
Yeah.
That it's this THC, correct?
Well, there's chemicals that are called cannabinoids.
Right.
THC is short for delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol.
I'm glad you said it because I couldn't.
That's the only time I'll get it right. I'm glad I got it right. So that's the one THC is the one cannabinoid that everyone's familiar with. That's the one that's psychoactive, and that's the one that gets you high if you smoke it.
Okay.
But there's other cannabinoids. One is called CBD, cannabidiol, and it's very medicinally used. There's no psychoactive component of CBD.
So what do they do? Extract these? They make tinctures,
yeah,
or you can make tea out of?
You can make tea. You can eat it. It's a great superfood. You're into raw. A lot of people use raw hemp, and there's.
Well, do you get high off of hemp if you eat it as a superfood?
No, well,
or just the seeds.
You got to heat the THC to make it become psychoactive. So people that eat the plant, they put in a smoothie. You know, there's super green smoothies.
Right.
You're not going to get high off of that because you didn't superheat it.
But is it then, if you put it in a smoothie like that, is it good prevention to cancer?
It is. It's very well. It's got a perfect ratio of omega-3 to 6 fatty acids. It's got more GLA, gamma-linolenic acid, than any other plant. So it's got some really great fats. You're well aware of the importance of good fats in your diet.
Yeah.
So hemp it's a perfect superfood to eat, but it's also medicinal.
I just never understood why hemp had gotten such a bad rap, and now I understand that it was really politically motivated by somebody who owned basically trees and didn't want to be in competition with the hemp to make paper. And yet throughout the years after that, so many people suffered because of that.
Yeah.
So I guess it's actually a good thing that people are coming around a little bit.
It is. I'm really encouraged about the different legislation in different states that are trying to legalize medicinal hemp, because of the fact that it is so good. It's not just a superfood. It's not just great for industrial uses, as we've mentioned, but it's a really good medicine.
Thank you so much for coming on, Ty. I really appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Carol.
So this is one thing that I really, and Elizabeth, maybe you can, I would like to hear what your takeaway is. Hold on one second. Okay. I would like to hear what your takeaway is in a matter of, you could give me one sentence of listening to that video. What's your takeaway from that?
That it is the CBD part of, or even the hemp plant itself, the entire plant, medicinal uses, and being a healthcare provider, and the fact that I use CBD for pain before, all of these extras I did not know about. I just knew about the pain for my knee in particular. And so to get all these other benefits, I'm excited about that. And then the other thing was, I've always heard that if you're using a lot of a product, you should be an owner or have a share of that product. Invest into your company. And now that I've retired from healthcare after 60-something years, I feel like I have a better opportunity to grow me and benefit physically as well.
Okay. So now I think you hit it on the nail. Now, some of the takeaways also from that video, and I'm going to repeat some things, is when you look at the science, you heard Dr. David Allen said that more people will be saved by the manipulation of the endocannabinoid system.
And I never heard of it before these videos.
Right. So more people will be saved by the manipulation of the endocannabinoid system versus sterile surgical technique. And he says, I'm a heart surgeon saying that. That's kind of premium and kind of, it's not bold, but it's fact. And then when you look at what type of cannabinoids or what type of product is he really talking about, he's talking about something that actually the body does understand, right? And the body is looking for. So when you look at Wakanna, what I love about the right people is because you have the right people that are pointing out the science of the plant and then the education of the plant that is really putting us in a great position when now you're talking about investments, or you're talking about shares, or you're talking about wealth, and you're talking about marketplace and getting in the way, as I would say, being a toll booth in this industry. We have to start somewhere, and this is where we started. We started with 4 African-American women who said that, you know what, our time is now, and we have a space, you know, that we're going to offer, not just for ourselves. We have a founder here who's sitting with us that acknowledged that she's one of the founders, that were initially able to sit at the table and make her investment into what we project to be a multi-billion-dollar company. And why? Because we're in the right place at the right time, and we have the right formula. So Dr. Rita McGuire, who's our chief medical officer, Senator, State Senator Patricia Van Pelt, who's our chief financial officer. I think that's big. Melissa Boston, who's our visionary and CEO. She's the brainchild of Wakanna. And then our chief sales officer, Miss Phyllis Nash. They all synergistically, and the person who invited you, and you might probably have seen this before, just I would say do your due diligence, and get back with the person who has invited you and ask them about each of these women, because they are game changers and they're phenomenal. And when you look at them being put together to do what they have done, because they didn't have to do it, they're all successful in their individual rights, in their individual crafts. They're all successful, right? But now to come together synergistically and say, well, we want to do more for our people. This is why we call them the Harriet Tubmans of this industry, because you see right now before you a black male, African-American male, right, that would not have had the opportunity to be in this space, to be able to cultivate more people and share with more people if it wasn't for them. That's Wakanna. And when you look at us being a company, I would say this: we are premium. We are, like I like to say, the BET of this industry, the Ebony magazine of this industry. We're just that premium company that decided to step in this space and be the best at it, right? And why we have to be the best is, well, we, not just for the reason of being competitive, but we know that resistance exists. Resistance exists because of the color of our skin. So we know we will be under scrutiny, which means that we have to have our I's dotted and our T's crossed. But with that being said, we have an overall vision. Hold on 1 second, you all. And that vision is that we exist to end the negative stigma that has caused communities around the world to really suffer, period. And we've seen ourselves suffer at first off of the health benefits of the plant. Like I said, it's nothing that I take lightly because I'm a cancer survivor. And chemotherapy and radiation really did a number on me at a very young age. So it's nothing that I take lightly. But then I look at, where the company, well, not the company, but where the plant was categorized in the old school, where it didn't have to be categorized that way. And now that the industry is opening up and the world is opening up to making it legal, that there's a very large wealth benefit of this plant. And the real deal is that it's sad that the only place that we see the plant in our community is through the gas stations, liquor stores, and convenience stores, or through somebody walking it through the street getting nighttime sales. And that's just not good enough. So we're on a mission to be that catalyst to stir up a movement to cause people legally, right, to get in this space as legal entrepreneurs, formulators. I mean, through Wakanna, I've seen people who have started their own farms, their own CBD water companies. We've seen a lot, and even to right now have a sister company that is a sanitation company to actually target, look COVID right in the eyes. Let me say it like that, and say enough is enough. And for what? Because all of us, I think, have been compromised, that we have allowed or freely given up our health, wealth, legacy, and freedom. And those are gifts that God gave to us that we shouldn't have given them away. And even if somebody took them away, they didn't have a right to do that. What I love about is, honestly, Miss Elizabeth, is the growth of the company in a short period of time. We started out on 106 in Halstead, and we shared that space with an insurance company. Amazing, because I remember on Thursdays and on Saturdays, we used to pack it out. I think 25 people could fit in the front, and probably about 15 people in the back, right? And every Thursday and Saturday will be packed. And now to be in Bronzeville, Chicago, not by coincidence, with the address of 411 East 35th Street, is pretty amazing. And I make a big deal about numbers. So 411 is an information call line that we use here. I don't know if it's nationwide, but 411 is an information call line. And we're giving out information, letting people know that they have a place when it comes to Wakanna, and there's a culture with Wakanna. But now when you look at the industry that has allowed us to do so started in this space, started with the farm bill, and it took a while for this bill to actually be passed and go through. But during number 45's administration of December of 2018, boom, you had um, CBD with 0.3% of THC or less being legalized and then put out into the world for everybody to consume and to sell for those who had the right credentials, because there's still a minimal credential. So our company is Farm Bill compliant. We're industrial hemp registered. Um, we're compliant with the Department of Agriculture, State's Department of Agriculture. And we have what we call the certificate of analysis that's produced through our third party testing. And it's not us that are actually testing our own product. It's actually us sending our product out to a lab, or the flower out to a lab and being tested to be able to tell people what's in it and what's not in it that can cause somebody harm. So we have to have premium. And the reason that we say we do have premium is because of how our products are tested. So when you look at the cannabis industry, I'm not a big Rolling Stones fan, so I would have missed this if Eric Strickland wouldn't have came and shared with me about Wakanna. I would have been investing in the cannabis industry here in Illinois, and I would have lost a whole lot of money because it wasn't something that I had ruled out. But I was fortunate enough to be able to identify that there was something happening with the industry, and it wasn't an easy route to get in. So Eric Strickland introduced me to Wakanna, and then I learned much even more about the industry. What was also interesting to find out was that the revenue of CBD and the people who were attracted to it were both younger and older than me. Millennials were some of the largest consumers. And in the past 2 years, I have read and have studied and have been exposed to me that CBD was actually the rock star of the plant. That millennials, especially driving, I remember driving around in Uber and picking up passengers, that there were college students on the campus that were using CBD to get through their tests, and to get that resolve that they were looking for it. And they weren't looking for getting high. And I'm talking about Western University, here in Evanston, Chicago, or Evanston, Illinois. So I have been exposed to another conversation, in the Uber conversation, with a CVS manager that shared with me that that they had just got CBD in their stores, the corporate stores, and the managers didn't even really know what it was, or they hadn't unboxed it. It was sitting in the back room and didn't know what they had. So when you look at the actual products, and why does this all make sense? Why is this different variation? What's amazing is that our body is looking for it through the endocannabinoid system. And through this endocannabinoid system, it initially started out where we still have, our body does produce cannabis. That's why they called it the endo system. Our bodies produce cannabis. One cannabinoid is called 2AG I can't pronounce the other name, but 2AG is a short form of the name. And then amandamide is the other cannabinoid that our bodies produce. And first sign of that is through breast milk. That's our first form of actually intaking those cannabinoids. But what has happened over the years is our bodies have been compromised. And Pac-Mans in our body, free radicals, are eating up those cannabinoids that are being produced, and we're not getting enough of it. So when you look at delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol, as well as CBD, which is cannabidiol, these Wakanna's products actually, being that they're fully grown in accordance with the Farm Bill and totally premium, are allowing them to get into our endocannabinoid system that helps regulate pain, perception, anxiety, nausea, and all those other things. And a lot of this, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't know previous to Wakanna. All I knew was I didn't even know THC. I didn't know how to separate it. I just knew that the plant got you high. But that's the actual negative stigma that we're erasing with Wakanna. Learning some things and unlearning some things. It's not that THC is bad. When you look at this chart, there are some medical benefits. But when you ask yourself who's the Michael Jordan of the plant, clearly you see black going straight down and it's CBD. But not to dismiss CBG, CBC, and the other cannabinoids, that they too have a medical benefit. And we do have some of those other cannabinoids, including terpenes, which is used to have a negative smell because we didn't know what it is, but it has now. It has, because we can understand what the smell is, it has medical benefits that have been explained, similar to like a tree or orange or a pine. This is the endocannabinoid system, and it's kind of like our bodies have these little cups that are looking for cannabinoids to fill these cups all around our bodies. These cups are receptors, and it's looking for cannabis or cannabinoids. And therefore, what a lot of people are testifying, and they're actually, we share testimonials of the benefits, is that it's working. People who've had bone on bone pain, like you hear Dr. David Allen, and he said that the people with this cannabinoid system being manipulated, and what he means is just bringing in the different forms and different types of cannabinoids, and that kind of manipulates the system, allows things to cannabis to go to the receptors, that it can save us. It can really help us dodge surgery. And what I've seen lend is us to being able to do physical therapy. Now, you might be saying, Minister Mooney, I can't share all of that. But the benefit of Wakanna, and what's also strategic about our platform, is that we share it for you. We put a lot, like this video is being recorded now, but we put so much effort into making sure that we capture the science and we put it out in the form of education, where if somebody was to ask, Minister Mooney, how are you doing this? And I have chemo brain, right? I've been through radiation. It's not because of me talking a lot that I'm doing well in this, or I'm a good salesperson, or my status, and I'm talking to people in my congregation. It's not because of that. It's because I love to expose, and we have so many different videos. Dr. Rita produced videos. We have so many different things that we expose to the public regarding education that compels them to want to at least try the product. Now we will get to talking business, and we get into and then the branding of the product and everything as far as our marketing through average people just looks real good. So a person doesn't have to be a great sales rep to actually benefit in the culture of Wakanna. Everything just looks good and it works. So when I share with somebody that asks me, well, Minister Mooney, man, how you get your beard? And this normally happens. This is what happens all the time if I'm out in public. I can't wait till this pandemic is over. People might say, man, why is your beard so thick, man? What you use in your beard? What do you think I say? And the truth of the matter is that, yes, I use hemp-powered hair. And I show them the oil, and they have an option to use it or not. It's similar to Miss Elizabeth. If you was to the nephew or grandchild or even son or daughter or whoever it is, partner in life, has some pain, it's similar to the old school when you used to be, hey, take some Pepto-Bismol, or here, take these pills, take the pills or whatever. Cod liver oil, right? Get some cod liver oil, mix it with a raw egg, and call me in the morning. Well, what's a blessing is that we can now say, here, take a gummy, here, take some of this topical, put it on your knee, and then go on by, call me, let me know how you feel later. Well, that's pretty organic sharing or organic exposure. And that's actually what's happening with Wakanna. some things that I would like to point out are disclaimers, because we can't take it too far, because there's rules and regulations. We have to be careful with what we say and how we expose it. So we usually make sure we show our disclaimers that we can't claim to cure, treat, diagnose, or prevent any disease. And then, of course, we have to make sure that everybody remains safe, especially those who are 21 and younger. Our smokable products, we have to, they're not available to those, to those who are younger. And then for those who are 18, we say forget about it. It's just, we're not going to sell to you. You can't partner with us, none of that. And then, disclaimers about if you're pregnant or nursing. A lot of times we hear these disclaimers and they do make sense. THC disclaimers, letting people know about our pure or our pure or our power products, because we have two lines. Our power line has a little THC according to the president's farm bill, 0.3% of THC or less, or pure that has 0.0 practically undetectable THC in it. Then we have the results. We have testimonies. So what it really makes it pretty easy to do is understand, because of the education, the science behind it. And because we know that cannabis is booming, and we just look at the numbers, we're paying attention to the analytics. Our CEO is very good at that and sharing information. We're pretty much projecting and looking at, because it's actually happened, that the sales of cannabis and the revenue being generated is a piece that we need to have, and a piece that we can share with a lot of people. So we're not just a company, more so than a movement. Let me go here. Being that we now see ourselves with the influence of Dr. Rita McGuire, we've seen so many doctors and have so many doctors and professionals partnering with us, that this company is not average when it comes to multi-level marketing or leveled marketing. We see ourselves being a combination of a micro franchise with a level marketing type of approach. To me, this is me saying this, a level marketing approach makes sense because of, when we do this so good, why do we need, and we have social media, and we have average people in their everyday lives, in a position where they can just share and expose, not sell. I don't even like to be sold to, but just, everyday conversations, which everyday conversation is pain. To be able to organically share that, why shouldn't the money go to the person who's sharing it? Why should we pay media or pay for press and pay for all of those things when we can allow the average person to leverage within their household, especially during the times like now where we need to generate home-based income? And with that being said, I think Wakanna just makes sense. I wasn't a big fan of level marketing, only because I didn't have an understanding of leverage and how to really grow a business. And I've been in business for 25 years and have done very well, but most mom and pop shops like myself have done all the work. And when you look at duplication that had been done, so whether I was making six figures or not, I needed all that money for me, and I couldn't figure out how to leverage it to help other people make money. But when you look at an industry, most industries, they figure that out, and somehow they've leveraged it, especially in the level marketing industry where everybody can get a piece, and the people who aren't supposed to get a piece don't get a piece. And the people who do all the work, they actually benefit. So I love the model. What you're seeing here, Miss Elizabeth, is what we call our party model. Having fun virtually, we ask questions, and we allow people sometimes to win prizes. Coming up with different themes for different parties, for different way of using our products to infuse. And this is just doing what we do every day, but allowing cannabis to be a part of our lives, in a good way. So what the ladies and our founders were very intricate and really intentional about doing is making sure that we can have a platform that allows organic exposure. So a lot of times I'll have videos going where I'm cooking with CBD, or my whole family now eats CBD because that's what I cook with. And as you see, these are just some examples. These aren't my personal examples, but these are some examples. And so the days of, remember, the culture used to be where you would take, and I know you're looking at this, where you would take marijuana and churn it up or whatever and put it in brownies. But it's not like that anymore. Infusing is, and making gummies and stuff like that. That's what's popular now. That's the trend now. The edible marketplace is the fastest growing segment of the cannabis industry in all of the world. It's the fastest growing segment. So when you look at, can you imagine that? Yeah, people will be going to restaurants and they'll pay a little extra for an infused steak. And why? Because they'll feel real good. But you have to have the right products that causes that infusion to be a benefit. So culinary products, that has certain carrier oils and water solubles that are able to blend with dips or liquids is necessary. And the ladies have thought far ahead, to make sure that we have these type of things. So when you shop Wakanna, these are the reasons why, because our products are premium. That's the main reason. You know, we can say we're African American all day, but if we have crap, that wouldn't work. But we do have premium, and the reason we know we have premium is because our product is full panel tested, third party tested. And we're so good that we offer a 30-day money back guarantee, which rarely happens. Because we're confident about our product, and we're confident because we love offering great customer service. Our industrial hemp is organically grown, and what's happening today is phenomenal because we love to give back. So our founders are in Louisiana, helping out. They took a truckload, 18-wheeler load, from what I understand. I haven't seen it for myself, but they did pop on the last webinar, and they just showed us how they were sitting there and passing out hand sanitizer and serving. And that's a service-driven heart that you really don't get from company founders, to get on the road and drive in their cars to a whole nother state to offer help, when we're trying to get help ourselves. So these are the reasons that you should consider shopping Wakanna, just even if it's just to support. Now, the money part is a part that I was looking for when I wasn't even looking for Wakanna. I was looking to invest. So this part is a great benefit. So when you're like, I'm at home right now, sitting in my bedroom, I'm still in my pajamas, and to be able to share and compel people to be a part of something, whether it's for, maybe you hear somebody's testimony, you hear somebody's story, or you look at the co-founders, you look at how they are, you look at what they're all about and them coming together to do something. I always compel people to be the difference versus being the catalyst that leads to something bad or causing up disturbance or discord. The movement, and any movement that, especially as Black people, that we have tried to cause to happen, should be positive, and it should generate a culture that, when we look at it and when we look at the people who are in the room, not being a respected person, but when we look at it as something that births just something we want to be a part of, and has something to do with growth. And this is Wakanna. This has been my experience, a very positive experience. And when you look at the movement itself, I got a chance to see the room from the front during our grand opening, and what I saw was everybody. I saw everybody being a part of Wakanna, whether it was for the health benefit or whether it was for the wealth benefit. And it made it possible three ways. The person number one was either a person who said, you know what, I support the person who invited me to, the webinar, the calls, and this is a simple model, very simple, not anything that has to be overthought. Person says, I support, I want to be a customer, or I know somebody who is dealing with pain and I'm going to buy it from them, I'm going to help them out. A person number two is somebody that says, I kind of dig the way y'all kind of do things virtually. For right now it's virtually. And I want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of the sharing. I want to be a part of the exposure. So I don't mind having a good time if and especially if I could get product for it, hosting something at my home with my friends and my family. A third person for somebody who just wants to rock and roll and get in the way and be a total goof. But ground floor opportunity, and it's only going to be ground floor for so long. And that opportunity puts us in a position to be major players in the cannabis industry. And it didn't come through anywhere else. It came through Wakanna. I could have invested money here in Illinois, and like I said, I could have lost it along with everybody else. But I praise God that I didn't. And I've been able to receive way with a whole lot of other people. Miss Gia is here. I know Shirley has been here, and Miss Bertha. A lot of them are part of the business that we all established that allows us to receive the revenue from this ground floor opportunity. And we've been able to benefit from the 7 ways of getting paid. One being e-commerce. If you shop, a lot of people shop online. I've never been one to shop online, but I see the benefit of how money can easily be made online. Now, being that I run a manufacturing company, where we manufacture clothing, most of it was organic sales, and it still is organic sales. But to have e-commerce is just a game changer versus traditional brick and mortar. It just makes sense. What kind of pays out 20 to 50%, through their on retail profits through online. And we have shipping right now is for any order for $50 or more. It's free shipping. And I already mentioned that the products is organic, it's affordable, and it's natural. So maybe some people might run to Whole Foods to try to get the same product. But why do that when chances are you're getting a certificate of analysis from the cashier or from the manager of that particular product would be slim. But you can get our certificate of analysis right online with our product, just to protect yourself. What's a great benefit is leverage. And it's kind of like math like this, is you can run a business like myself and make 100% of the profit, right, of your own efforts. And I tell you, it has been wonderful, but tiresome, because when a business stops, everything stops. Or you can say, well, let me make 1%, right, of partners' efforts, 1% of each partner's efforts, right? And I think that's of 100 people. Let's just say you have 100 partners and 1% of their efforts. It'll always add up to more than what you can ever do, right? Even at a low percentage. So we have broker retail earnings that on level 2, will allow a person start out 15%. On level 2 is like 5%, all the way down to 1%. And I think that's just amazing. If Warren Buffett can do it, why wouldn't we do it? It just makes sense. So while I'm sitting in my bedroom right now, and while Miss Gia is sitting in her wherever she is, and everybody else is sitting around who are currently partners, they started at the crown jewel, which is a $2,000 value, and they're actually residually making money right now, because the largest research word in the whole entire world is pain. Holidays, people talking about pain. Thanksgiving, people talking about what? Pain. So the gift of giving this holiday, the gift to give is cannabidiol or CBD, right? Not even concerned about how many people will be out there getting high, because that's just hype. It's old school. It's not where the plant is now. And if you're looking for getting high, that's just never been us. That's not Wakanna. But putting people in a position where they can share with their friends, share with their family, have a different conversation at the dinner table, right? Because we need to bring it all back to the table anyway. This is where we start to see a difference with our crown jewel. It's the best value that we have. Education is key. So what comes with that crown jewel dispensary, and it's just the best place to start, is you can actually right from your home learn how it is that we do market. So I say don't be compromised or get fearful that you're not a great salesperson. We share with you how to expose to social media, how to use social media, how to build a customer base, show you that there's money in edibles. If you're a great baker and you've been baking pound cake, well, we'll show you how to infuse it. Investing in cannabis, I'm gonna talk about that in a little bit. Dr. Rita teaches all about the endocannabinoid system and the medical benefits from endometriosis, multiple sclerosis, sciatica nerve damage, gout. We have learned a lot. Anxiety, so much. We've learned so much. And then to be a business that's compliant, a business that has insurance to cover you, and a compensation plan that's fair. Now everybody doesn't have $998, right? So we have packages that, initially targeted for the millennials. They have little money, or somebody that may be retired, but they didn't get a lot in their pension, right? Whatever the case may do, we have something for you. We call that the stimulus pack. It comes with some benefits, not as much as the crown jewel, right? But it is a nice fire starter. It's a nice way to kick off. And this is what I was talking about when it came to the stimulus pack. Not the stimulus pack, the founders pack. So there's a certain part of our company, a certain part of profit that the company allows for those who become founding members. It's called the founders pack dispensaries. This allows for a person to make 1%, right? This group of people will come in and have come in and make 1% of the company's total revenue. So I say this, write down 10 million. Take your calculators, calculate 10 million, 1% of 10 million, see what that calculates to. And let's just say if that's per month, and it comes to $333 per month. But imagine, and I divided that, I took 10 million, I divided that by, I took 10 million, I multiplied it times 1%, I divided that by 300 people, because that's what it looked like last year, right? We didn't have 10 million, I'm projecting out. But I do, very conservative, know that we're going to end up making 10 million a month. That's easy. I can see that easily, But when you look at it and you divide that math by 300 people, 10 million, I'm gonna do it again, 10 million times 1% or times 0.01, get that figure, then divide it by 300. Look at that number. That's very conservative, right? So when you look at these packages, maximum 2 packs, you're able, actually, if you're a crown jewel in our company now, you can come in to the left where it says $799.95. That's not something you want to miss. If you're to the right, it says that you can, if you're not a crown jewel, because this is only crown jewel qualification. That's what's needed, not the stimulus, not any of those other dispensaries, but crown jewel. So what that means, if you're not a crown jewel, well, you can get started and get our shares at $15.99. The Founders Pack dispensary allows you to get, each of them allow you to get 1 share. If you were getting 2 shares of the one to the left, that's just 2 times the amount. If you're getting 2 shares of the one to the right, well, your first share would be $15.99.95. The next share would be $799.95. And I hope that makes sense. But there's such great benefits when you can actually buy a founders pack and get something in return. I think is very generous. And then when you look at the bottom in red, you mean to tell me you actually get money back yeah, you actually get money back. So when you do the math, it just makes sense if you see where Wakanna is going. I gave you the math for projection as well. I'll give you the math today for leverage. So I'll show this slide. We're out of October, so don't pay attention to the left. Let's look to the right. Today is the 7th. And you might ask, what do I have that lined out for like that? Well, you saw in this slide where the 27th is Black Friday, right? That's what I'm showing here, that there's Black Friday. That's when the shares usually would open. That's what happened last year. But the Founders Dispensary Pack is actually available now up until the 15th. I showed this slide to tell you to move now. Because if you understand what I've shared with you regarding leverage, and if you paid attention to all of the brokers' earnings and everything that I've shared with you, imagine the number of people that want to hear about our shared value, the shares, and just might want to come into the company to sit on those shares and watch them grow, whatever the case may be. There's benefit to doing that. So I say get started now, share with the person, tell the person who invited you or the person who you've talked to that I want to get started. Can you talk to me on how, right? And maybe you're understanding that there's a difference between us and a whole lot of other companies. I'm talking about corporate America too. See, Wakanna has not set it up for you to lose. That means they're not charging you to build a website. They're not hitting your check, with website hosting fees and money require auto ships, money coming out of your bank account every month, quotas, balancing legs, and shipping costs that are high, and they're not hitting you with all of this generous giving. They're not even hitting you with the top people in the company making all the money. Doesn't work like that. But what they are telling you is they're going to offer you, and we're going to offer you great customer service. We're going to share with you in the total revenue, right? We're going to share and let you know of how you can will your business to somebody else that you love because you're building it for them. It may not even be for yourself, right? Unlimited income potential. Maybe you want to be your own boss. Maybe you want to be an entrepreneur, a formulator, a chef, right? Legally in this space. Maybe you just like spending time in your pajamas, right? Like I am right now, my phone's blowing up. Maybe you like spending time in your pajamas, right? At home, working from home during the pandemic, right? We have a balanced compensation that allows you to do that. So with that being said, get back with the person who invited you. I already heard Miss Elizabeth say she's a number 3. But get back with the person that invited you and let them know either you're 1, who just wants to support, 2, host a party, gain some free product, whatever the case may be, or number 3, which is I want that, I want the 40 acres, and I want the whole mule, right? If that's you, join us in Wakanna. Love you all and have a great